Okay, you guys, so I've just seen a video on YouTube from a popular astrologer about how to get your Jupiter blessings now. And the short story is, I didn't agree with how the video was framed. And I thought, so what can I do? And I thought, why not just make the video about the same exact subject and give my perspective on it? So, first of all, you can't get your Jupiter blessings now. There's no such thing. You don't have to try. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to desperately reach for it. Jupiter blessings, whatever that means, is something that happens in transit. So when the correct transits are happening on any given day, and by the way, it's on many days because there's many transits to your natal Jupiter and to transiting Jupiter happening all the time. That is when you have Jupiter events taking place, okay? Jupiter events can have many shapes. So I'm going to talk about some Jupiter events that can help you understand better how that actually works, okay? So I'm a tropical astrologer. I don't practice Vedic, therefore I use the tropical zodiac. And Jupiter, for us, is currently in the sign of Cancer, which is the sign of family and home, closeness, growth, taking care that something is raised nicely, and also your origins, your heritage, where you come from. And so I'm going to talk to you about some things that are happening in my life, some things that are happening in the life of people that I know, and some things that are happening in the collective that are all about Jupiter and Cancer. Maybe then you'll have an idea of how that transit actually works in real life rather than just imagining what it could be. So, recently, my boyfriend has started going back to his house, like where he grew up, because his mom still lives in that house, and he wants to spend a lot of more time with her. And that wasn't the case for the previous 2 years of our relationship. He would occasionally go there to do laundry, because we don't have laundry here in the house. But he didn't spend much time there. But in this period, now that Jupiter is in Cancer, he's been going to his mom's house almost every single day to spend just a few hours with her, keep her company, and also Jupiter is retrograde in Cancer currently. When Jupiter stationed retrograde in Cancer, my boyfriend had this idea to renovate his childhood bedroom, and he wanted to make it into a music room. And so he bought a bunch of instruments. He has a Gemini stellium, by the way. And yeah, he made his childhood bedroom into a music room where he was planning to spend plenty of time just playing music for himself. Okay? So there's one Jupiter in Cancer event. My boyfriend is a Cancer rising, by the way. Now, in my life, very recently, I have gotten a blender, which makes smoothies, like this one that I have here. I don't want to show you because maybe I'm going to spill it. Never mind. I'm a huge smoothie drinker, but I haven't had a blender since years. Even though I've wanted one, I was in all kinds of different housing situations. I was moving around all the time, so I just didn't have a blender, and therefore I didn't have smoothies. But now, I have been equipping the house with some things. That's also Jupiter in Cancer. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And one of them, of course, is the blender. And so now every single day I have smoothies. That's basically my meal for the whole day until dinner, because that's just what I like to have. I like to drink smoothies. And you can see that in the fact that Cancer is a water sign. So it does have to do with liquid. Now, Cancer is also about what's happening inside the house, in your little shelter. And the other event that has been happening over the past few months is I have started to purchase items that make me feel very cozy at home, something that I didn't ever do before. because I didn't think about setting roots. I didn't have a boyfriend at the time. I wasn't thinking about family and home, but now I do. So I bought myself an amazing blanket that is filled with down and with organic fibers. And my like the sheet on the blanket and also the sheet on the bed and also my pillowcase, they're all organic cotton. For you, that might not be important, but for me, it is. Because I like to have nice things on the skin. Even what you're seeing, what I'm wearing, and the t-shirt under, and my pants, and my socks, I bought all of this stuff recently. And it's all organic cotton. Because it's important that whatever is touching my skin isn't filled with chemicals. And I threw away all the polyester stuff I had. All the clothing that I had before, I just threw it away. Or I donated it because I felt like, well, I don't want to use this anymore. And you can see how all of those events are about Jupiter in Cancer because the expansion that's happening in my life is about things that are very close to me. The things that I wrap myself in for protection, the clothing, and the things that I put in my body when I'm sleeping, also Cancer. So my bed stuff. And by the way, I also bought myself a bed because before that I was just sleeping on a mattress on the floor. I've been poor for many years as well, so maybe that's important information just to understand why I didn't have access to all this nice stuff. And so there's Jupiter in Cancer. Yeah? Now, I'm going to give you another example. It's about my mom. I was on the phone with my mom yesterday, and well, I was having a conversation with my boyfriend. My boyfriend was suggesting that if my mom ever wants to move away from the United States and back to Europe, because I live in Europe, my mom lives in the US, she would be very welcome. We would love to have her here. That really touched me. And I had a conversation with my mom then, and I told her, look, I know you're planning on maybe leaving the US, and I just want you to know that we would really love to have you nearby. And she was almost in tears, I felt. And I could tell she was very touched. And she was saying, thank you so much. You know, that means a lot to me. I'm going to keep that in mind. And there is that sense of reconnecting with the family unit and getting close again. Because my mom and I have lived apart, I would say, for the last 12 years. Basically since I was 18 and I'm about to turn 30. And by the way, 12 years is also one cycle of Jupiter. And there you can see my boyfriend getting closer to his mom, me getting closer to my mom, all of us putting family as front and center in this period. Whereas before it was never a subject of conversation at all. It was just like, okay, she lives far away, who cares? Now I care. Now I want to come back closer to her. Okay, another example. Earlier in the summer, I went back to my home country. That is when Jupiter had just entered Cancer. And for the first time in like 20 years, I don't know how long, me, my mom, and my grandma were all in the same house at the same time, spending time together, eating Bulgarian food together. And of course, that's important because, again, all three generations get to be together. We didn't do that ever because I emigrated a long time ago. Those are all Jupiter in Cancer events. I'm going to give you a couple from collective happenings. The European Parliament, when Jupiter stationed retrograde in Cancer, voted successfully to allow proxy voting rights for new and expecting mothers. Meaning, if you work in EU Parliament and you need to vote for whatever, you can do it from home in case you're pregnant or have just had a baby. That way you can stay at home instead of having to go and do your work elsewhere. Yeah? Same thing with the SNAP benefits. If you guys remember in November in the US, there was a big fear that SNAP benefits would not be distributed and families would lose their food access, essentially. And the moment that Jupiter stationed, the SNAP benefits were distributed again. But you can see how during that moment of the station, when Jupiter is coming to a complete stop, there is this big question. So are we gonna have food or aren't we? And there was a lot of people offering support. Everyone is like donating food. They're doing like the angel tree drives. It's also important during this period, like taking care of each other and making sure that people have their basic needs met. And that also makes me think of like the global Sumud flotilla with Greta Thunberg that had happened several months ago. They were taking aid over the water to Gaza. And of course, I don't want to get into the political content of what's happening there, but that is also Jupiter in Cancer event. So you can see that receiving the blessings is it's not something that you have to look for. It's something that's happening to you because astrology is simply representing the architecture of your life. And it's all happening according to different transits that are taking place in your chart. That is when you experience Jupiter events. There's no such thing as getting your Jupiter blessings now. Do you get it? But you will get them, and you get many of them throughout the days, throughout the months. But you just need to slow down and be perceptive and think about, okay, so what's happening? Where do I notice Jupiter in Cancer taking place? So that is how astrology works in real life. If you want to cast spells, and I don't know what people do, like have remediation techniques, you don't have to do any of that. You will equally experience Jupiter as anyone else in your own way. So the question for you then is, where do you notice Jupiter in Cancer in your life over the past several months?